What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Tuesday, February 26th, 2019. I'm Greg Miller, and I'm working on trying to time it so I have it down in my head of when it ends, and I can just go rather than have to see myself flash and talk. I thought I was almost there. I was not. Getting there. Getting there.
So close, dude.
To my immediate right, Forbes 30 under 30, a.k.a. the second best baby blues in San Francisco, a.k.a. the engaged one.
That's me.
At Tim Gettys.
Let's him host. I cannot wait to get to the news stories.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Today we'll be talking about all sorts of Pokemon things and why Tim's excited about them, Watch Dogs 3 maybe being in London, and so much more, because this is the show that runs you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show each and every weekday. You can write into patreon.com/kindafunnygames with your questions, comments, concerns, everything under the video game sun. Then tune in live, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. You can watch us record it. If we screw something up, go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight. For everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and listening on podcast services around the globe. If you don't want any of the ads in this show, go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Of course, you can submit your topics, questions, everything else there, but you can also get the show ad-free as an MP3 and video, and it helps keep the lights on, which matters. Speaking of people keeping the lights on, Greg way into housekeeping. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Tom Bach, TJ Meehan, Joe Beezer, Trevor Starkey, Mohammed, and Blackjack. Today we're brought to you by Quip and Harry's, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 4 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
And I'll tell you right now, it's a misleading number. It sounds low. Thank you, Barrett, for clearing your throat after yelling a baker's dozen. It sounds misleading, but we have gigantic stories with multiple parts on all sorts of stuff going on here. But we'll start with what is the lead story? Pokemania, everybody.
It's Pokemania, man. My best week ever rolls on, Greg Miller.
Yeah, it does. Yes, I saw that. I saw that your best week ever is continuing with Get Hype Moments and Week of Dreams.
Oh, my God.
I thought it was a slam dunk. Pokemon Nintendo Direct, lead story. You run into the building 4 minutes before we go on air, and you're like, no, Detective Pikachu trailer has to be the #1 story.
It has to.
And then we watched it, and a salamander came out at the end, and everybody flipped out.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not watched the Detective Pikachu trailer yet, and you have any interest in Pokemon whatsoever, stop the show, go watch the trailer, then you can come back. I do not want to spoil this for you, because it is definitely one of the most get hype moments I have ever witnessed. That's coming from me, Greg Miller.
And you are a get hype machine.
I am. And it's like they did this. They did this trailer so perfect. Again, this is your last chance. I'm getting into it now.
I got spoiled. It sucks, so do it.
Yeah. And on Twitter, guys, come on, man. It's such an obvious moment. I'm like, don't talk about this, guys. Let people watch this thing. Let people enjoy this
I can't wait to understand why this is a big deal. And I'm not even being a trolley dick.
So let me set the stage for you, Greg. I'm in bed. I wake up.
Yeah, you are.
I knew I had to get this. It feels like this week has lasted 10 years.
Sure.
So much is going on.
I told you not to get engaged.
Yesterday, Ryan Reynolds puts out a vignette thing about becoming Pikachu. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to get home and watch it. Totally forgot about it.
Yeah.
Because there's so much going on. Then I wake up this morning and my first thought is, oh, I need to go watch that vignette.
Yeah.
I pull up my phone, go to search for it, and I notice there's a new trailer. It's not. I still haven't even seen the vignette.
Okay.
Because I saw the trailer, like, oh, I'm gonna watch that instead.
Sure.
This trailer starts, and I'm like, okay, the first trailer was a bit more about the boy. This trailer's much more focused on Pikachu,
Pokemon.
On Ryan Reynolds' character, the titular Detective Pikachu.
Sure.
All right, it's giving you some background, whatever. But then those notes hit, and I'm like, holy shit, they're going for it. It's the Pokemon theme song, but it's a fucking epic orchestra version, and I'm like, I got chills. You already got me.
I thought you meant the notes for I Need a Hero.
No. This trailer just keeps building, Greg. It keeps speaking more and more to my core.
Sure.
All right?
Yeah.
We get this. It's a little bit more of the world that we've seen Rhyme City set up in the first Detective Pikachu trailer, which I thought was fantastic. You keep going, and you just see Pokemon left, Pokemon right. When I first heard about Detective Pikachu,
Pokemon red, Pokemon
I was
blue.
like, yes, exactly. Maybe Gen 8's Pokemon left and Pokemon right. when I first heard of this,
the Switch Joy-Cons.
I was like, this is a disaster. Why would you do this? This is an insult to everything that I stand for.
Jesus.
And then when you see this trailer, I was like, I was wrong on every front.
Yeah.
I am sorry.
This looks like the first great video game movie.
It really does, because it looks genuinely funny.
Yeah.
They're letting Ryan Reynolds just be Deadpool, but he's Pikachu. And it's like, great. If it was just Pika Pika the whole movie, that would probably be an issue, right? But not only do they give him a voice, they give him Ryan Reynolds' voice and character.
Yeah.
And I think that's just such a great call. But you're going through, and when I first heard about this, I was like, if it's just going to focus on Detective Pikachu and the story of that game and stuff, I'm not that interested. That feels more like it's a Pokemon in the real world, as opposed to it's in a Pokemon world.
Gotcha.
You know, we all live in a Pokemon world. But this, to me, it's proving this is a lived-in Pokemon universe. It's not just a world. There's posters everywhere. You're seeing all the different regions. There's history of all the different generations that we know from the games. And it's not just Generation 1 Pokemon. There's Pokemon from all of the generations all over the place.
Yeah.
And they look awesome. I love the style of this. I think they're just nailing this to me 10 out of 10. But then you keep going, and then you hear those notes. And it's Holding Out for a Fucking Hero. One of the greatest songs of all time. One of the most get hype songs of all time. And it just keeps building. And there's action scenes and there's crazy stuff. And they're using psychic and the world's turning and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck did I do to deserve this movie? This is insane.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel little kid shit. It
Oh,
feels,
no.
It feels like, oh, you're going to
Yeah.
enjoy this movie. And then we keep going. It's building. You're seeing all these Pokemon all over the place. And I'm just having a great damn time. The jokes are funny. Everything's just going crazy. We see Charizard. We see Blastoise in battle. It's like, this is like too good to be true for me. And then the song's building up and you see that there's this big explosion happening. And they fucking do it. It's Mewtwo, dog. It's fucking Mewtwo. Mewtwo, Pokemon number 150. He is the end goal. He's the Thanos of Pokemon. Like,
Okay.
I cannot believe they showed that in a trailer. And as hype as that was, it's like, I do have questions of how they're going to make that work, because that seems like blowing your load a little early in this Pokemon franchise.
Oh, they'll put out Mewtwo Tropical Freeze or whatever
Mewtwo
the fuck
Strikes
his name
Again.
is. Yeah.
Alolan
Yeah,
Mewtwo.
yeah,
Is that what
yeah.
you're getting at?
They'll put it in-
Mewtwo Tropical Freeze.
They'll put him in a
with
goddamn
new funky mode.
grass.
Yeah. Dude, that was a perfect trailer.
It's funny
for
'cause-
fans and non-fans alike.
You can't speak for me as a
Yes,
non-fan.
I can.
You can't speak
I
for
saw
me as a
you. You were
non-fan.
hyped.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great trailer, and I think somebody also had no interest in this. You know, I mean, whatever. Ryan Reynolds and Pikachu, great. The first trailer was hilarious, and I was like, oh man, I'm looking forward to this. And then this one, yeah, I didn't understand any of the references you just laid out or why any of it was important, but I did not hear the Pokemon theme, but I was like laughing at Ryan Reynolds and having a great time with those jokes, and it looks beautiful, and it is pulling in the fucking little guys with the plants on their back, the onions on their back. And I'm like,
Bulbasaurs, yeah.
oh man, I love a good Bulbasaur.
You do love a good Bulbasaur, but like the song, it was subtle. That's the thing, is like, it's not beating people over the head. Like, you didn't hear the lyrics or anything, but it was the da-na-na, da-na-na, like the I wanna be the very best. Oh my god. I'm
Once
like, I watched it. I texted Gia and I was like, Gia, this is like the fucking lamest thing I'll ever say to you, but you're locked down now. I literally am shaking from a trailer I just watched with Detective Pikachu.
Did she just text back? That's nice. That's nice. That's nice, Tim. Thank you.
Well, she also loves Holding Out for a Hero. I can't wait for
Who
her to
doesn't?
see it.
Of course,
It's so
Short Circuit
good.
2.
Oh my
Johnny
God.
5. All right,
They showed Mewtwo.
Yeah,
the fuck?
a little too early, but I'm still fucking
Right.
like.
Still, I'll take it, man. Nothing can take back this moment I had, you know?
I was saying to Kevin before the show, like, imagine if in 10 years we're like 6 movies deep into the Pokemon movie franchise.
And that's my thing. I was in the shower, couldn't stop thinking about this damn trailer. Imagine we're getting a post-credit scene. Is it gonna be Ash putting on his hat?
Dude. Don't do that to me, Tim.
This I have the opposite feeling of when I saw the Power Rangers trailer.
Okay.
You know? Where it's like, this is a franchise I care so much about, but then I'm like, oh my God, they're just nailing it in a way that I couldn't have even comprehended. This is better than I could have imagined.
Wow.
And then there's more news.
Yeah, of course. The real, I think, number one. But I mean, don't get me wrong. You're going to go into this in screencasts on Friday. There'll be more to it. You'll talk about the vignette, I'm sure. Video gaming news, though, of course. There has been the announcement of a Pokemon Direct. That's right, tomorrow. That's right, Wednesday. Tune in on February 27th at 6 a.m. Pacific for roughly 7 minutes of new information in a live streamed Pokemon Direct.
Let's fucking
Boston
go,
Beer
boys.
Dude writes in to patreon.com/kindafunnygames and says a Pokemon Direct was announced for tomorrow. That said, I personally would love 3 to 5 new Pokemon and a quick rundown of the new region. Tim, do you think we'll get that far or see more into the Direct? Alex Russ writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, finally, the time has come, or at least I hope that we get to hear news about Pokemon Gen 8. Personally, I'd love to see a deviation from the trainer goes to fight 8 leaders to then fight a group of 4 even bigger leaders to champion. I'd like to see perhaps a detective style story where each case requires a new ability, HM move, as you go through a more grown-up story. What do you guys want to see out of the next Pokemon game? More Pokemon return to previous regions, or perhaps something new? Tim, what are we getting tomorrow in 7 minutes?
There's a lot to break down there. I feel like we're going to get Gen 8. That's obvious. The tease has the 3 Pokeballs hinting at we're going to see the 3 new starters.
Do they confirm 3 new starters, or is that every game?
Every game has 3 starters. And I will say I'm a little let down that we saw that, because that confirms that it is going to be the same type of thing over and over and over.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
I'll get specific and nerdy in a second.
Please do.
Starting at broad here, we've seen Pokemon Directs before. Pokemon games are typically announced and talked about in their own Directs, not in a Nintendo Direct. There's been exceptions. Gen 8, in fact, was announced at E3 in Nintendo's Direct in a really lame way. Yeah, it was a we're making it way. Where
right. Please be excited.
Please be excited. It's happening. But now we're finally going to get to see it and what it looks like and what it's going to mean for the future of Pokemon. This is actually a very pivotal title in the franchise what we see tomorrow, I think, is really going to impact the next 10 years of Pokemon, because this is the first proper full Switch game. And the big question is, how much different does it look and feel and play than Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, right?
Yeah.
I loved those games, but they were very different. They were not the core titles. What from them will these games kind of take and improve on? How deep are they going to make the systems, and how much are they going to or not going to Breath of the Wild eyes Pokemon, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's silly to expect that. I don't think it's silly to want that and hope for that, right? At the very least, I'm hoping we get simple change-ups, like instead of the starting 3 being grass, fire, water, like it has been every single generation. Change it up, give us psychic, ghost, poison, something, like some different type of thing. Maybe pineapple, just to kind of switch up the feel of it, because the games are fairly predictable in their you're going to meet some a flying pigeon type Pokemon and a rat type Pokemon early on. Then you go, and then eventually there's water. And it's Rattata. Yeah, see, you learn some shit.
I played from Let's Go.
You learn some shit. But 7 minutes sounds like not long for a Nintendo Direct. It's very long for a Pokemon Direct. So that makes me feel like we're going to get either a real deep dive on this game, which if it is a Breath of the Wild style thing, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Or we're going to get a couple announcements, maybe some not DLC, but special event stuff going on for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Maybe they talk about Detective Pikachu a little bit. Maybe we get some Smash Brothers, what are they called? They're not trophies anymore. Spirit event
Fake
mode
fan.
or something.
Dork.
Yeah, I know, right? Some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to set my expectations correctly here. But we've seen Pokemon, I want to say it was X and Y on the 3DS, which was the first 3D game where it was no longer top-down perspective. And when they debuted that, it was a Direct, and the Direct, I think, was only a minute and a half.
Oh, jeez.
It was essentially, it was
just
a trailer.
The trailer, yeah.
So 7 minutes, I think we're going to get something pretty substantial.
Is there any chance you don't get Gen 8 tomorrow?
No, not okay. We're getting Gen 8 for sure. And I'd say that's confirmed regardless of the image we got, but seeing the 3, you're all right, they're definitely
Do you think you get a release date
towards this. Yep. I imagine we'll get a release date of November. I imagine they'll announce the 3 starters, and we better get a look at the game.
Yeah.
And again, this is going to be a pivotal moment, because if we just get a game that looks like a prettier Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, that's going to be fun. It's going to be a great game, but I think that's a sign that we're just going to continue to get iterations of the same thing going forward. But if we see something that looks substantially different, that's very, very, very exciting. And I feel like that could be a turning point for giving Pokemon an injection shot that it needs for a lot of people. Again, these games sell millions. It's not like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Yeah. But I do feel like the split into the Let's Go games and potentially what this could be is very exciting to me. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be very cool.
I think you're going to be blown away.
I hope so.
I think tomorrow. I hope you're setting your expectations correctly. I think they're gonna clear the hurdle tomorrow. Is my prediction, and I based on nothing, apropos of nothing.
It's a hard hurdle to jump across because, like, I forgot his name. One of the people that wrote
Alex
in.
Russ or Boston Beer Dude? Boston Beer Dude was the first one asking about 3 to 5 new Pokemon, run down in the new region. Alex was like, I want a detective style story.
The detective style story thing.
You're not getting that.
And to be clear, he's not talking about Detective Pikachu, I don't think. Like, he's talking about, like,
He just wants a more adult story, something more grown up, he's saying.
And I would love that. Like, that's what I want more than anything. I don't think we're going to get that. But we haven't just seen the same get 8 badges, beat the Final Four thing over and over. Like, Sun and Moon changed it up. Like, it was a different type of game. Like, there was no gyms, you know? And it's like, I just feel like not enough people. A lot of the people that are complaining that, oh, it's the same thing over and over and over, don't play them. They don't realize that they look the same, they feel the same, but that'd be like looking at any video game and being like, oh, that's the same as this. And it's like,
Uncharted 4 is the same as Uncharted 1.
Exactly. And even that is different because, like, that is, the play style is so much more similar. But yeah, it's like,
now we got a rope.
Story beats it. You do have a rope. That was fucking fun.
Yeah.
Not used enough. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get something drastically different. I don't think that I necessarily want something drastically different. Like,
You just want something evolved.
Yeah.
You want it to evolve.
I would love something that, and you know, I'm not a big open world RPG guy, but like Pokemon in an open world, that's exciting to me. The idea of like, what if we get a region that is not just linear paths throughout the entire thing, but like you go and you can kind of choose your path, and if things scaled accordingly, like the technology is there now in a way that it hasn't been before. So I don't know. I'm very excited. Obviously, I don't know if I'm going to do a live reaction to it.
You're telling me you don't want to be in here at roughly 5:30 in the morning for a
7
call
minutes.
time? Yeah, for 7 whole minutes.
That's my problem. Maybe.
God damn it, Tim.
Here's my question.
Well, because here's my thing.
stick with me.
I don't have anything that I don't have a show in the afternoon tomorrow.
True. It's KFAF tomorrow.
So like,
God, that show sucks.
Theoretically, I can come in, do it, stay here, do emails and stuff.
Yeah.
Do this show, bounce out, go sleep. We'll see.
I mean, you could. As of right now, the person I was trying to get for Games Daily to fill in for one of your days said he couldn't. Then I did your thing where I hit up Fran Mirabella. Of course, probably still sleeping off the drugs or the pills from last night. Hasn't texted me back. Whatever. So I don't. So you could still come in and do it. What about this? Stick with me on this one. And I know this is probably nigh impossible for you. You just do the reaction. We just watch it part of Games Daily. We watch the thing. Or we always, does that screw anything up? If we watch the 7 minutes of it here and you did live reactions to it as we did it, you'd have to stay off Twitter. You'd have to stay off your text messages.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Nah, cool.
I can't do it. This is the type of announcement that like I'm gonna not be able to sleep about. I'm so antsy, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, at the least, I'm going to record my reactions at home.
Okay.
And I'll post that video. It just won't be live because I don't know how to do streaming stuff like that.
Sure.
But yeah.
Okay, fine. Have it your way. Do you think it's possible that tomorrow's announcement will be that the game will be timed with the release or around the release of Detective Pikachu?
Not a chance.
No?
It's November. Okay. This game is November. Maybe October.
I didn't realize you worked for Nintendo now. I didn't realize Doug Bowser was sending you personal information.
My texter's blowing up, Mr. Bowser.
I was going to say, is it checking if Mr. Nintendo, Mr. Bowser's hitting you up? Number 2, your PC may be about to play all the Xbox games in the world. This is from Brad Sames over at Thurrott. Brad Sames, of course, friend of the show, and I mean that in terms of we read his stories a lot. I think we interact on a Twitter once. I don't mean a friend of the show, like he's been on the show. But I mean, you would know his name as the guy who broke the original stuff about Xbox Scarlet. He's really dialed into the Xbox and Microsoft communities. So
the amount of these Xbox news of like Xbox coming to Switch, Xbox coming to PC, next is like Xbox coming to PlayStation Portable.
Xbox is on your TV now.
Hey,
Xbox
Alexa,
is
play
on your
Xbox.
phone. It's a long article. I'm going to read a lot of it. You should go over there. And I'm cutting out a lot of the technical mumbo jumbo, because he gets into a lot of details about drivers and XEs, and I don't know what the hell's going on. But here we go. Earlier this year, Microsoft made a peculiar announcement on the Windows Insider blog related to gaming. With build 18334, Microsoft said they were bringing new technology to Windows 10 and were offering up State of Decay for free to try, but that's all the information that they provided. When you download State of Decay, the oddities begin immediately. Instead of downloading from the Microsoft Store server dl.microsoft.com, where all content comes from, including Play Anywhere titles, the game downloads from assets1.xboxlive.com. What it looks like Microsoft is doing, instead of porting each Xbox feature back to the PC one by one, they are simply dumping the entire Xbox One installation/servicing plumbing and making it the primary installation for Windows. This is where I cut out a whole bunch of technical mumbo jumbo about drivers and stuff like that. For a few months, I'd been hearing that Microsoft was working to bring Xbox and the Xbox Store experience closer together. This appears to be part of the Game Core strategy that is designed to make it significantly easier to bring Xbox games to the PC. Granted, the challenges today of building a PC and Xbox game using the same assets is significantly easier than last generation, but Microsoft wants to make it streamlined process for maximum value for developers to support both platforms. After all, as consoles have evolved, they are more like PCs than standalone unique pieces of hardware. By doing this, it makes it easier for developers to build one game for both PC and Xbox, which is a huge win for Microsoft on both the console and PC gaming fronts. Here's a whole bunch more mumbo jumbo, but where like some root files are using the word Durango, which of course was the Xbox One codename. On the surface, what it looks like Microsoft is doing is collapsing any differences between PC and Xbox gaming to make it the same experience on both devices. The company is in the process of making the delivery mechanisms based on the Xbox infrastructure, appears to be making it possible to run Xbox games on the PC and replacing existing store PC games infrastructure on that of what Xbox has built. And this isn't some half-baked port of the Windows ecosystem either. Much like Xbox does, this updated mechanism, why am I saying mechanism weird, supports delivery optimization too. This is a substantial development process for Microsoft and not something that happened overnight. While it certainly looks like developers will be able to use a single binary package to target and Xbox and PC, I believe the larger ambition is to make the gaming experience the same on both PC and Xbox. If Microsoft can make this a reality with performance being top-notch on both platforms, it means the addressable market for Xbox and PC games is going to be the same, which makes it a much more lucrative target than other platforms.
Fascinating stuff. I love how this is all building on each other.
And Xbox keeps moving forward and doing the crazy things, right? And that this is, I know so many people when we talked about Xbox Game Pass coming to Switch, we're like, well, why doesn't Xbox just go and just become a third party then? Why don't they just go and do these things? And as they move here too, it is Xbox really betting on this future of people just want their games wherever they get their games. They don't care what platform they're playing on, and we want to be everywhere. And it sounds crazy because of how we've lived and grown up, but this strikes me so much as what we've talked about when we were at IGN, and this is a different part of the industry, but when we were at IGN of like, man, don't put anything on YouTube, make them come to IGN, and then finally you're like, fuck, that was a bad idea, get it everywhere, put it everywhere, get Snapchat. Yeah. And then like same thing for Kind of Funny, right, where this last week we put it on roosterteeth.com because, well, if we haven't converted those people already, they're never going to come to kindoffunny.com, so why don't we just go to them?
Absolutely.
And we have to do those kind of moves. That's what they're doing here, and it's going to be fascinating to see of how that works out because we talk about it all the time, and I joke about it all the time. There is a difference between playing a PC at a desk and playing a game on the couch, right? But if Xbox can do this and cross all these platforms and it really does become ubiquitous and play anywhere, suddenly there is a reason that I'm on a train with Wi-Fi or maybe you can even download it to your PC. I'm playing a game on my PC because I can do it here with a mouse and keyboard or with a controller. And then when I get home, I do put it to the Xbox and I keep playing that way. And it becomes the same reason people are buying the Steam Links for their living room, right? They'd be buying an Xbox. And maybe the super cheap Xbox Scarlet, you know what I mean? Like there's a million different moving parts to this that as we just hear rumors and we think we see what's happening in the background. We don't know, but it's going to be fascinating when they finally pull the curtain back or start rolling out these programs to what it looks like.
Yeah, jumping back to the conversation we had a couple of days ago when we were really going into the Microsoft on Nintendo thing, we brought Google up and about how maybe their thing is just going to be the physical hardware that's going to make it mainstream and make people understand it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft Scarlet is Scarlet the cheaper one that we're looking at?
Yeah, the Scarlet's the streaming service, right? Or no, you're right. No, it is. Scarlet's the one. That's what they're calling it. I'm on it. Or kindoffunny.com/you're
There's xCloud, there's Project xCloud,
yeah.
There's Scarlet, and then I think that there was one other thing. But I think Scarlet's
the only one I talk about. So.
Okay, so if Scarlet is what I'm talking about, I can totally imagine Microsoft trying to invent what first party could look like, which is essentially their hardware is just the box that lets you do all the stuff and connect the things like Chromecast.
Yeah,
Someone called me out saying, why does Tim always say Chromecast? I don't know why.
Because we're all idiots.
But
here.
I do.
No, it's the Scarlet devices. So right now the code name that they're talking about is Scarlet.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, man. Very exciting stuff.
Can't wait to see how
I love and this news story I actually think is a very big deal because there is work being done on the back end, on the foundation level. That is going to make all this stuff work better. And at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. This generation, going into the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro, there was so much like like crazy conversation of like, oh, this is gonna ruin everything. It didn't ruin anything.
Yeah.
And like this, I think is now it's stretching a bit more where it's let's push things more this way and more this way, where everything just kind of works together, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like 4K in this, but also streaming.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what all this actually ends up being. And I'll tell you what, this Brad Sams fella, we got to get him on Games Daily or Gamescast. He's always doing this cool stuff, and he's obviously got an ear to the ground on Microsoft and that was, you want to talk, we always pat Schreier on the back, right, for games journalism, well deserved. I think, again, with him, like, I've cut a lot out of his article, again, thorough if you want to go read it all, and he talks about how this was weird, but I didn't understand it, so I reached out to these people who explained it this way, and it's like, he's really obviously going super deep into this stuff to find all this stuff. It's really cool. Number 3. Is Watch Dogs 3 coming, and will it be set in London? This is Alex Avard over at Games Radar. We've been hearing rumors for some time now that Watch Dogs 3 is going to be set in London and likely releasing later this year. But the newest leak all but confirms it. The latest gossip comes by way of a 4chan post from an anonymous poster and has since been corroborated by Kotaku's Jason Schreier on Twitter, stating that the sequel to Watch Dogs 2 will take place in an open-world London, stars a new character that players can choose as male or female, will more strongly emphasize hacking over combat, parentheses, but features small firearms and melee weaponry, and is coming out in 2019 to replace the lack of an Assassin's Creed release. The 4chan post also suggests that the next Assassin's Creed game is codenamed Legion and set for a 2020 release on both current-gen hardware and the PS5 and Xbox Scarlet. It'll apparently be an Assassin's Creed Odyssey style RPG set in Italy at the end of the reign of Marcus Aurelius, but Schreier has since suggested that part of the gossip isn't true.
Ooh.
What do you think about a Watch Dogs 3?
It's gonna happen. I buy this, yeah.
Blackjack writes into patreon.com/kindafunnygames and says, hey, Greg and Tim, what's good? Yesterday there was news circulating about Watch Dogs 3 set for 2019, and this got me very excited. I loved Watch Dogs 2, but I felt it got a bad rap from the jump. Are you surprised that Ubisoft would continue to make games in the franchise after Watch Dogs 2 had such a soft sales and no tail to speak of? Will the Watch Dogs franchise forever be the victim of the E3 2012 overhype and perceived downgrade? Can we hope that Watch Dogs 3 is a step forward in the franchise in the same vein of Assassin's Creed Odyssey? And if it is, will it be enough to keep the gamers give the franchise a second shot? Keep up the great work, Greg. Stop betting on the ponies. You're not surprised that there's Watch Dogs 3. I was.
So this is very old news now, but back in September 2017, Tom Phillips at Eurogamer wrote an article that says Watch Dogs 2 had soft launch sales, but Ubisoft happy with franchise. And I feel like that makes a lot of sense given that time.
Yeah.
And that's enough news for me where I'm like, if they're going to publicly say that, that means that they're not killing it. I feel like they wouldn't have said anything if they weren't planning on more. And I feel like Ubisoft has changed in the last couple of years, like with the live games and with games as a service. And just, I feel like they found a niche that they are filling with a library of different titles that all are kind of like reaching out and speaking to different crowds, but also to a similar crowd. And I can see them making changes to Watch Dogs 3. Let me put it this way. If they brought Assassin's Creed back and made that relevant, they can do that for Watch Dogs.
Sure. I just always thought that Assassin's Creed obviously had been going longer, had been a more proven IP for them. And when this news or rumor really started over the weekend and we were all hanging out with various outlets for your engagement party and we were talking about all this, they were the people I was hanging out with. I was like, man, I'm really surprised. And they were like, oh, no way. Watch Dogs 1 sold so well. But I'm like, Watch Dogs 2 didn't. And I felt like it was such a Watch Dogs 2, again, a great fucking game. Yeah. What I love about and granted, this is all rumor and speculation, because literally, like, in this post from Games Radar, right, this 4chan post, which was since been corroborated by Jason Schreier, right? Schreier's corroboration was talking on this thread and then being like, and him debunking the Assassin's Creed thing. And then somebody misconstrued like, oh, that sucks. And he's like, no, I'm talking about Assassin's Creed. And like, what about Watch Dogs? And then just putting up like the Britain flag. Like, he wasn't like going into things. So like, take the rest of it with a grain of salt. But more strongly emphasizing hacking over combat for me is, I don't know if that's the big reason Watch Dogs 2 didn't connect. But Watch Dogs 2, when they showcase that, if you remember that E3, like where Marcus infiltrates and does all this stuff and shoots all these people, was 130% not how I played Watch Dogs 2. And I will never forget playing Watch Dogs 2, and I got into a party with Mitch Dyer and James Faulkner. They were also playing Watch Dogs 2, but we were all playing single player stuff. And we were talking. I already played for like 20 hours. And Mitch said something about rubber bullets. I was like, what do you mean? And he means, oh, anytime we have to shoot somebody in the game, we joke about how they're rubber bullets because the dissonance here, right, of like the game you're playing and who Marcus in DedSec is versus actually killing people. And I was like, wait, you guys shoot people? And they were like, yeah, don't you? And I was like, no. Like I every time I'd walk up to an objective, I crisscross applesauce outside with my laptop, send in my drone, bring in my little RC car, hack, come in. I don't think I ever fired a shot, and I never went GTA and went fuck around and like blew people away in the streets of San Francisco. So that I don't know if that's why I have such a soft spot, is that I played into, I mean, obviously with any video game, this is obviously way more common in the 8-bit, 16-bit, where we had to make our own stories. Like that was my Marcus, and that was how I played that game, and that rang true with DedSec and them watching trailers in their basement in San Francisco. And I was like, I remember coming in time, I'm like, these guys are us, except they know how to hack.
They have cool glasses.
They have really cool outfits and stuff. So the fact that they're talking about that at the jump, maybe that would help rein it back in. If it was, hey, yeah, there's this DedSec group now in London that's running around doing all these things. Who knows? And then I didn't realize this when Jason kept tweeting about it a little bit, and he had put out a link that I didn't realize this. They went and changed the ending to Watch Dogs 2, like the post-credit scene, that if you do it, and it's just like this, it hints at going to London and all this different stuff. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I'd missed all that. And that's old news. So like the London thing isn't really breaking, I guess, if you go from that. And that's what Jason, he's like, they've really been beating around the bush about this, but I'm excited for more.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. And I think that when you look at things like Rainbow Six and the way that Ubisoft treated that game over years, and look at Division 1. I think that they've learned a lot, and especially with Assassin's Creed, bringing out Origins and then Odyssey, which really felt like industry-wide, it kind of built on, hey, we understand what you guys don't like about this, and we're going to keep modernizing this. We're not going to make it this annualized event thing that like people like are kind of like, what's happening next? It's more like, oh no, each one's going to be kind of a tentpole experience, even if they are coming out year after year. Yeah, like I'm talking about annualized in the derogatory way of just like cookie cutter.
Yeah, of course. Would you want Barrett Courtney?
What's that?
Would you want for Watch Dogs 3 them to steal the Odyssey RPG mechanics, or would you rather it be more just an iteration of Watch Dogs 2?
I would love for them to keep like the Watch Dogs 2 vibe. I really loved Watch Dogs 2. I played a lot. I played a lot as you as well, where like just like doing the stealth type of hacking stuff, and it was such a fun game. So if they keep to that and are like doubling down on hacking during combat and all that stuff, like I'm absolutely in. Yeah. So yeah.
Watch Dogs 2 you can probably get cheap. Everybody go get it.
Oh yeah.
And then whatever comes for Assassin's Creed again, I hope it is an RPG, and I don't care. I'm in. Make it a cool environment with cool characters and stuff.
Are you in no matter where it is?
No, well, it's not like I hate. It's not like they're gonna be like, it's in Australia, and I'm like, I hate Australia. Fuck that. Like, if they can capitalize off what they did in Odyssey and continue on that and keep iterating the way they did, because I mean, like, I've never. Outside of like DC Universe Online, I don't know if there's been another game like this where every time I go to boot up Anthem and I see Odyssey there, I'm like, oh, they just put out that update. They just, you know what I mean? They just added all the new sync points and a new level cap, and like I got to finish the DLC at some point. And it's like stealing my attention all the time that I want to go back to that world.
2 questions for you.
Lay it on me.
Quick questions.
One, God forbid we have a good conversation on this show.
We can save it for a Gamescast potentially in the future. But what would be your dream next location? And the second question is, why have they not done Japan yet?
Now that's what I was going to say. My next one would be, an Assassin's Creed Samurai Japan thing, right? The problem, of course, now is, Sucker Punch is doing that. Ghost of Tsushima, I don't need to worry about it, right? Barrett Courtney brings up, right now, if you're a PlayStation Plus member, you can get Watch Dogs 2 for $15.
Do it.
75% off. Get that game. So outside of that, that's when it gets interesting of where would I want them to go. It gets weird because they do historical stuff so well. I would love to see another crack in America, which I know is tough. And I, you know what I mean? Like I feel, and I didn't. Assassin's Creed 3 didn't speak for me or speak to me. I tried to play it. It's just too slow. I didn't like it. With everything they've learned, I'd love to see something like that, but I don't know what that looks like. And I do think when you start bringing guns into Assassin's Creed, that makes it weird and not Assassin's Creed. But then again, choosing your own character and choosing how you play. And like, I don't want to be the people who didn't give Odyssey a chance because they looked at it like, that's not Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed can be anything. But I'm, where would I want to run around still and do stuff? That is a good question. And like Japan obviously speaks right away. I don't know. I'm down for them to show me what they want it to be. You start thinking about people who, so like it's got to have boats. It's got to have a bunch of stuff to explore. So I would say Vikings, but then For Honor, right? Like I think For Honor's already got but at this point, you figure what? It's going to be 2020 when this game comes out. For Honor will still be cooking, but it won't be as synonymous with it.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that'd be a good fit. Barrett, who else uses boats?
I don't know. I'm also thinking about like what I would want. I just want them to do pirate stuff again. That'd be so fun.
Yeah. Well, they already did. You're getting Skull and Bones. That's the thing. We're starting.
Yeah, Skull and Bones is isn't that like only boat stuff though?
No, not anymore. Now they're like, oh, that's a weird thing. You're not a boat person. Now you're a person.
I'm glad I'm not a boat person.
I don't know. You're not made of boats anymore. You know what I mean?
Tight.
I don't know. And then modern day was always interesting, but it's just gonna be guns. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know, Tim. I don't have a good answer for you. But again, I wasn't asked if you would have said before Odyssey, where do you want to go? I would have been like exactly here, and when they said Greece, I would have been like, I don't know.
Yeah,
sure. That's how I was till I played it, right? And then guess what?
Well, I feel like the Greece you got all jazzed up on the Wonder Woman aspect.
Fuck yeah, I did.
Yeah, dude.
Cassandra, man. Come on. Just give me more Cassandra adventures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give me some reason she doesn't have, well, that's all spoiler stuff. Number 4, sad stuff. We have GOG.com, goodoldgame.com woes for you. First, we're going to talk about layoffs from Jason at Kotaku. Amid a month full of mass layoffs across the video game industry, the digital store GOG quietly let go of what it says was a dozen staff members last week. GOG, which is owned by the Witcher 3 publisher CD Projekt, did not say why the layoffs happened, but one laid-off staffer tells Kotaku that the store has been in financial trouble. In an official statement to Kotaku this afternoon, this is yesterday, a representative for GOG confirmed the layoffs but did not offer much more clarification. Quote, letting people go is never easy, they said. We have been rearranging certain teams since October 2018, affecting and closing around a dozen of the positions last week. At the same time, since the process started, we have welcomed nearly twice as many new team members and currently hold 20 open positions, end quote. One person who was laid off from GOG last week offered a different perspective, saying that the laid off staff were told that this was a move made by a company in dire straits. That person estimated the layoff had hit 10% of GOG staff. Quote, we were told it's a financial decision, that person told me in an online message. GOG's revenue couldn't keep up with growth. The fact that we're dangerously close to being in the red has come up in the past few months, and the market's move towards higher developer revenue shares has or will affect the bottom line as well. I mean, it's just an odd situation. Like, things got really desperate really fast. I know that February was a really bad month, but January, on the other hand, was excellent. We were in the middle of a general restructuring, moving some teams around, not unprecedented. But layoffs that big have never happened before, end quote. Jason's article goes on to talk about the fact that Gwent just has underperformed since it came out and a few other things. However, what's interesting is this isn't the original GOG story I put on here. The GOG story I originally put on was this one that I saw on Reset Era that took me to the GOG.com site that is about dropping the fair price package. On March 31st, we are going to discontinue the fair price package program. Let us explain the reasoning behind this decision. We came up with the fair price package as a way to make up the price difference between various countries. Some games on GOG.com have a regional pricing, meaning the price of the same game in one place can be higher than it is compared to the price in North America. In countries where the game is more expensive, we give users the equivalent of the price difference in GOG wallet funds. In actual numbers, on average, we give users back 12% of the game's price from our own pocket. In some cases, this number can reach as high as 37%. In the past, we were able to cover these extra costs from our cut and still turn a small profit. Unfortunately, this is no longer the case anymore. With an increasing share paid to developers, our cuts are getting smaller. However, we look at it at the end of the day, we are a store and need to make sure we sell games without a loss. Removing FPP is not a decision we make lightly. But by making this change, we will be able to better conditions to game creators, which in turn will allow us to offer you more curated classic games and new releases, all DRM free. We wanted to make sure you have some lead time to still benefit from the fair price package. The program will last until the 31st of March 2019, so if you would like to take advantage of it, now is the time. The funds you gather from the program will keep the 12-month expiration date from the moment you've been granted your last funds. So I saw that, and I think it was somebody maybe in the patreon.com/kindoffunnygames brought up this and looped it all together, and it's painting a picture. It's painting a picture of a company that, similar to everybody else, is trying to right the ship, right? Yeah. And make sure that they're here to continue to be here in another year.
Does GOG get bought by Epic? from CD Projekt Red.
The CD Projekt Red get bought by Epic. Think bigger.
Whoa.
Think bigger.
That'd be insane.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. I doubt it. I mean, what you're buying the back catalog? I mean, sure. If you were putting those, here's my thing, and this is another one of those. I like to admit what I don't know. I don't use GOG. That was Jared Petty used GOG all the time, so I'm not sure what's going on. If publishers are putting their old stuff on there, if these are games GOG's acquiring, putting on there, I'm not 100% sure how any of that works.
I'm seeing it more from a big dick swinging perspective of just like, hey, they're gone. They're ours now. You know, like think back to the 90s of the various video game stores.
Sure.
And now it's GameStop.
Yeah, GameStop owns EB and everybody
and
else.
Funko
Yeah.
whatever. But you know, and Babbage's or what was it? Babbage's? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, Babbage's.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like,
oh, totally.
It totally is just a no. It's us, right? And like I feel like that would be a big statement from Epic of like, hey Steam, we coming.
I feel like, yeah, it could be, but it's also the thing of I don't know their business model well enough to tell you who owns those rights and those IPs, and because what would just stop those people if GOG went away, and if I hold the rights to old game X and GOG goes away, then just go to Steam or Epic and put it out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless it is, like I said, they've bought it.
I know
and they have
it's all the DRM stuff, and they do have technologies, and they've been around forever, so there's infrastructure. So it's like, I don't know. Smarter people than me could figure out what to do with it.
Exactly. And they will. Or they'll be around forever. But we're going to have to wait and see. Tim, if I wanted something more immediate, like what came to the mom and grab shops, where would I go?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, Dirt Rally 2.0 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The Walking Vegetables Radical Edition on PS4. Remy Lore, Lost Girl in the Lands of Lore on PlayStation 4, PC, and Switch. 8-Bit Invaders on PS4 and Xbox One. The Lego Movie 2 video game, PS4, Xbox One, PC, Switch. Trials Rising, PS4, Xbox One, PC, Switch. Fate/Grand Order VR featuring Mash Kyrie Light, PS4. You know who that is?
No.
Skyhill, Switch. Stellaris Console Edition on PS4 and Xbox One. Rod Rogers World 1 on Switch. Time Transit VR on Steam VR, Oculus Rift. Radical Rex on PC. The Red Dead Online beta gets that giant update we've been talking about today. That brings community requested improvements along with world enhancements, additional balancing, and more. Wrathstone DLC is released on PC and Mac, and it kicks off the Season of the Dragon. Armello V2.0 is out today on PC, coming to console soon. New dates for you. Crimson Keep, a roguelike first-person action RPG, is set to launch on the PlayStation 4 on March 5th in the US and March 6th, 2019 in the UK, or EU. And then new Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom DLC, The Tale of a Timeless Tome, will be available on March 19th, 2019. Barrett, you oohed that. Are you into that?
I didn't beat Ni no Kuni 2, but I really loved it. So I eventually one day will go in and beat it, and then maybe play this DLC.
You coward.
I'll fucking do it, Greg. Look at me, I'll fight you.
Deals of the day! I read this one at IGN. Walmart selling Red Dead Redemption 2 for $35, and IGN says Amazon's trying to match the price, but they keep running out of stock. And then, the Hitman 2 starter pack is available now for free, allowing players to experience the full Hawke's Bay, New Zealand location, along with the opening campaign mission, Night Call, and the many challenges and unlock within that environment. Tim, it's time for Reader Mail.
Let's get into it.
But first, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor.
Give me some Reader Mail, Greg.
I know, there's a lot of
mail.
personal emails about us.
Personal?
Yeah, not about industry stuff, right? Okay. I'm going to give you one industry one, all right? Yeah. I think so. No, that's still personal. We're going to start with John BX32, who wrote in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, hey, Greg and Tim, what's up, doggies?
What's up, doggy dog?
You guys talk all the time about how there's no room for sevens anymore and that you only have time for great games, but I never really understood what you meant by that. Do you mean games that are critically reviewed as sevens or games that are sevens to you? Greg, I know you're enjoying your time with Anthem, and Friday the 13th was one of your favorite games of 2017. Both those games have a 61 of Metacritic. I'm having a blast with Crackdown 3, and some of my favorite games this generation have been less than 75 on Metacritic. Sea of Thieves, Dying Light, and Mad Max, Game of the Generation. Dying Light is... Can you get me the Metacritic on Dying Light?
Looking it up.
If that's a 75, that is a shame. That is embarrassing for the critics at large who fucked this up. I couldn't imagine just not giving those games a chance because they weren't critically praised at launch. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for everything, John BX32. Well, John, you answer your own question. Oh, okay, hold on.
So we got Dying Light base game at 74.
Dying Light base game 74.
The enhanced edition.
Yeah, but no, you're right. He's right. Dying Light on PC, Xbox One, and PS4 there at launch 75, 74. That's not a cool thing to say. Dying Light's a great game. That makes me angry. John, you answer your own question. What do you mean by I don't have times with 7? Then you say, Greg, you love Anthem and Friday the 13th. Those games both have a 61 on Metacritic. I don't have time for 7s. I got time for 61s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you did see it coming.
Yeah,
no, but it definitely is 7s to us. You know,
Yeah,
if you're
totally.
enjoying, like you loved Friday the 13th, you knew
Yeah.
it had problems, but like I don't think you would have gave it a 7. Personally,
when I say there's no time for 7s, right? Or and I'm sure I've said it, I have no time for 7s or something like that. There's too many great games. I mean it more from the general consumer, general gaming, taking a temperature read on what's going on in terms of how many people are going to be turned off by seeing a 7. Yes, when I think there's a game that speaks to you that has something you're going to like in it, what Friday the 13th, this idea like I'm dying for the Division, so Anthem's close enough. Let's play some of that shit. And Andy's excited, and I get to be Iron Man, whatever. I jump in, and that hooks me. That's great. I think that when you start, and you said this yesterday when we were talking about it, not all 7s are created equal, right? Not all review scores matter as much as they used to. I think there's when you get, it's what you're talking about with Celeste yesterday, that if a game's getting a 10, if it's getting a 9, if you're listening to us in a Waypoint and IGN and everybody's like, holy fucking shit, this game is great. I think that's such an easy, well, I want to be part of the conversation. I'm going to get in there and do that. There's enough of those games on every podcast, every website that we're talking about for you to find and not have to go outside of that. And so when I'm saying there's no time for 7s, I'm saying if you're trying to keep up on the hottest, critical, most acclaimed games right now, they're dropping every week, if not every day. That's what's doing it, and that's what's happening. And so when you get time, there's no time for 7s. I'm talking about the fact that in the old days, I think you could put out a 7 game, like a 7.0 game, and still have a lot of people play it. And I mean, like, not the majority of people, because that's impossible, but I mean, like, the majority of people who are on other podcasts. Like I always go back to the Wii Super Mario, Paper Mario, whatever.
Yeah, Super Paper Mario.
When
Definition of a 7.
When I moved to San Francisco for IGN, and we had time to review games at our desk, which is not how that works.
Wow.
Right? Well,
That is unbelievable.
I would play PSP all afternoon at my desk, right? And that is not something that happens. Now you go home and you play games all the time and you're tired and you're exhausted. I would go home and I would play Super Mario, or whatever it was, Paper Mario on the Wii, because I was like, I want to play something. This is good. Let's play this. And that was the thing. This is good. What do I remember of that one? It had a cute art style, and there was a big fat like nerd dragon that I thought was really cute.
Yeah.
That's what I remember from that game. And nowadays, if that dropped, and I think it kind of did, when Paper Mario Super Sticker Star dropped on 3DS, right? I pre-ordered it, paid my own money, came to my desk, and Audrey Drake reviewed it the day before, and I was like, how is it, Audrey? And she's like, meh. And I was like, holy shit, if Audrey's like, it's meh, I'm not playing this.
Yeah.
And so it sat on my desk unopened forever. I think I gave it away.
That's the thing with the idea of 7s, of like critical 7s versus what is a 7 to you. I think a good example for me is Kingdom Hearts, where it's like, if I had to critically review that game, I don't even know if I would give it a 7. Like it might even be like a 6 something.
Sure.
Maybe a 6. I actually think a 6 is what I would give it. But to me, it is more than that. Like personally, I'm like, oh, well, what I got out of it, I'd probably give it closer to an 8.
Sure.
8.5.
You're doing your iteration kind of scale, I understand.
Yeah. And it's like, so not only did I make time for it, it's like I wanted to make time for it because it was, for me, it was not a 6.
Yeah. And so I think that's what we're coming down to. You're right, and you're putting it in the same idea of like, on this show, because everything just, in all of our products, I should say, when we talk about games, we often, without saying anything, cross over between here's the Greg Miller take on it to here's me trying to be like an objective video game journalist, peer, critic, whatever you want. You know what I mean? And we slap back and forth so often that I understand why it's confusing when we say stuff like that.
And to continue our conversation from yesterday just a little bit, we were talking about reviews and how much they matter and what they mean and like reviewing people's reviews and all this stuff and like how it just kind of gets very, very nasty very quickly. I don't know if you saw on Reddit, but Fran kind of, for lack of a better term, defended himself and his stance and wrote a full review that he posted on reddit.com/r/kindafunny.
Which is so funny because yesterday I was talking about how I thought he crushed that review.
Yeah.
And then he went and wrote it out along with his points and then put a 7 on it there. And I was like, damn, friend, I don't think you needed to do this. I thought you killed it.
He really
didn't,
did, but I appreciate that he did. And like it's funny because in his review he even says, he's like, talking about this stuff on a podcast is very different than putting out your points as this is my review of it. And that's why even calling things reviews on Gamescast, I always feel kind of weird about because it is always more impressions. Even when we beat the game, you know, it's our reviews. It's not like a critical review. Sure. If it was a critical review, the day that Kind of Funny is actually reviewing video games, you will know, and we're gonna have an editorial like rule set and criteria and like things that it's not just gonna be like, well, Tim liked it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, and if we ever do that, but like,
Sure.
what we are now, it is us talking about what we like, but then also us understanding how this all works and how the industry is as at large. I've
been pushing for a long time that I think we have the talent to do it right now, and we start the full-blown video game reviews, and it's just cool, Greg. And
Okay.
And it's the hit and run scale. Is it better or worse than hit and run? And that's it. That's what he tells you. That's all it is. And then that gets on Metacritic. It's either a 10 or a 0. We're just getting rated. That's the cool Greg scale. I'm gonna give you one question. It's a slam dunk short one. maddockjr writes into patreon.com. Oh no, actually, hold on. Maddock Jr. did not write into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames.
You're right.
Maddock Jr. put this into You're Wrong. And then I said, oh, that's a great question, Maddock Jr. Submit it to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. And then I forgot that not everybody has access to that anymore. So I felt like that was a rude thing to say yesterday. Don't write into You're Wrong with questions. I will not acknowledge them ever again. However, I'm going to give Maddock Jr. this one here. Jumping off of yesterday's conversation about Anthem, he says, Greg, you often say you're not an expert on certain genres of game. What types of games do you think you are an expert in? Great question. Because yeah, with the Anthem thing, I was talking about how I think Fran comes at that as such an expert in the field of loot-based shooters, on game as a service, that kind of thing, that I don't do. Where I was so happy with Destiny 2, and then I'm really happy with Anthem because I'm not looking at these things as things I want to put 900 hours into, right? And have a breakout podcast about and sit around and have to talk to Destiny about. I would say for things I am an expert in, like, I mean, obviously, I would say, the general field of PlayStation, because it was what I've covered for 12 years or whatever. But again, that doesn't make me an expert at the show by any means. But I can talk to you about Sony San Diego and what they've done with it. I definitely think my expertise would be story-driven third-person games, right? Something like a God of War, something like an Uncharted, something like a Spider-Man, those kind of things.
Yeah.
A narrative adventure that way. Anything that's focusing, I think, more on storytelling than it is like I'm not an action game expert, right? Devil May Cry doesn't do anything for me, and some of this gets into what am I a fan of and what am I an expert in. I know this sounds goofy, especially in this day and age, about how people on the internet think of me, right? But I think I have an expertise in PlayStation. I'm a fan, obviously, as well, but not in a way. I think it's more that I just know the ins and outs of that because I've covered it for so long, right?
I would say I'm a fan of the games that you just described, the Uncharted, the Spider-Man, like the action adventure, third person, like narrative driven games. I would say I'm an expert in Nintendo on the grand scale, but like not on the like what you're talking about with like MLB The Show. It's like I'm not an expert at Zelda even. Yeah, I would say I am an expert at Super Mario. Like any of them any of the platforming games, whether they're 2D, 3D, anything in between. Yeah. And obviously Smash Brothers. But obviously. Like those are the only two things.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I just think I don't even know if it's more of what I would describe myself an expert in is what I would describe myself as a novice in. And I just don't think I'm grounded enough in what a Destiny player wants out of Destiny, I can't speak to. I can speak to what I enjoy in it, what I don't. Anthem, I can't speak to what somebody who wants to sink their entire lives into that is like. But for me, killing time to the Division 2, great. When the Division 2 comes out, I play the Division 1 backwards and forwards before they dropped in all the other crazy shit. So I guess even there, I'm not an expert. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll see. Tim?
Yes.
We ask people who want to be friends to go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, submit their name, username, platform of choice, and why they need help in a video game. Then we read it here on Squad Up. Everybody goes and plays video games together. Today, DYoung needs help on Xbox. His Xbox Live username is DYoung, all one word, with just the letter D, then Young. Hey there, best friends. I am looking for some people to hop into some javelins and crush some strongholds or just run missions in Anthem. I'm usually on every night and am grinding regularly. Hit me up on Xbox. My gamer tag is DYoung. If you want to play Anthem with DYoung, hit him up on that there Xbox. If you want to see more Anthem, tonight me and Nitro Rifle going out into Anthem, getting some kills and some wins.
Thanks for the invite.
No, Barrett, you can't play.
Thanks for the invite.
No, Barrett, you can't play.
Thanks for the invite.
I'm sorry that Nick's got to play now. You know what I mean? You screwed it up by talking about it, and now Nick's interested. Time for You're Wrong. This is where we ask people watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up. First off, this is one not from You're Wrong. Yesterday, I read a Twinfinite article And I said, I think I got this name right, but I emailed the author. She's in Singapore. She'll let me know. I got the name really wrong. The way to pronounce the Twinfinite name from yesterday is Jiqing Wang. Thank you for writing in, Jiqing. I'm very happy to know how to say it. It was a great article. Let's see what we got wrong today, though, all right? Let's see. A lot of people are just hypothesizing in here. Ignacio Rojas says, although the initial announcement for Pokemon X and Y was a 1.5-minute trailer, this was part of an 11-minute Pokemon Direct, of which most was Iwata talking about the history of Pokemon trading. That comes up a couple other times, yeah. According to Good Bad Watch Dogs 2 can be free on Uplay if you pre-order the Division 2 on PC. Not sure about consoles. I haven't heard anything about that. Oh, here we go. Ignacio Rojas says in a 2014 interview, Ubisoft's creative director, Alex Hutchinson, explained why Assassin's Creed hasn't gone to Japan. Basically, he said that plenty of other games are already set in Japan, and that, quote, Assassin's Creed is one of the games that can take lesser-known time periods or corners of the world and make them cool, fun, new, and refreshing. He also added that a game set in Japan would work, but it would be too familiar. Interesting. Okay. Nick says Dying Light had major problems when it was released. Everything was fixed in the enhanced version. That, again, back to our thing of how much does a day one review matter. I played day one on PS4, but I don't remember problems. But it doesn't matter, whatever. And then final one here, Odin Tai. Why don't I say that? Tim said Super Paper Mario was the definition of a 7 out of 10. He's wrong. It's actually a 10.
All right, man. Hey, your opinion is a 1 out of 10.
Ladies,
Fucking got it!
nailed them!
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily. Remember, each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show, patreon.com/kindafunnygames. You can watch live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. You can watch later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames or roosterteeth.com. And you can listen to the MP3 on podcast services around the globe. Tomorrow's host is probably Tim. With the Pokemon thing, you should be here.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
So Fran, whenever you wake up and you just puke up everything from last night, just remember,
Jesus.
Don't come. No, Fran's a very nice guy. He was probably just sleeping because he streamed too late or he's already working out. So tomorrow it'll be Tim. Thursday it'll be Andrea. Maybe it'll be Friday for Ann to yell at me. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.
There's a new Detective Pikachu poster.